Welcome back to my little channel. It has been a while since my last video, and this is because of personal reasons. For one, I'm trying to figure out how to use Blender so I can kind of make more animated videos. I've nothing to show for that as of yet. So yeah, keep your eyes out in the future. I hope I'll have something soon. And we had visitors over for a week, so that was cool, but that also meant I didn't make any video. However, it has been time for a while now to make that Ask Me Anything video. So basically, that's what I'm going to do today. I didn't grab screenshots of the questions. I'm sorry. I'm just going to paraphrase the questions I have received on my Ask Me Anything video on YouTube. And I have a bunch of questions that came to me via Minds. I hope you will enjoy the next video. I'm sorry I'm not going to mention who asked me the questions. It's not nice of me, I know, but I basically wrote down the questions and I forgot, and I'm a lazy bastard. But I do appreciate each and every question I've got. And thank you very much for asking those questions if you are one of the people that actually did. Okay, the first question I'm going to respond to is this. What is the most robust feminist argument you have ever come across? And in all fairness, I understand where this question is coming from, and thank you, Christy Winters, for putting it out there. The thing is, there are no robust feminist arguments. Not a single one. They are all bullshit, hyped, or lies. Just pick one of the three, really. So yeah, I can't name a robust feminist argument. There aren't any. Now, I understand that some of you might think that that's, kind of lame to answer a question like that. But I simply cannot give a better answer to this question. I'm very sorry. This is not me copping out. This is me being honest. I did love the second question, though. Why are you a hidden SJW? I'm pretty sure that was a joke, but I find it funny nonetheless. Well, you know what? In a way, you can say I am a social justice warrior, but not the sort of social justice warrior that normally would consider himself a social justice warrior. The thing is, I am out there for social justice, for equality of everyone, regardless of race, gender, or sexuality. The thing is, that's not what social justice warriors are about, apparently. So I'm not quite sure if I am a social justice warrior. There you go. The third question I got is, what do you think of the Justice Democrats' policies? And I have to admit, I had to look into that because I had no idea what that meant. Basically, it seems like people wanting to reform the Democratic Party. In all fairness, all the power to them. I have no real stance on it either way. I mean, there are some things that I agree with and something I disagree with. I don't think, however, that me disagreeing with something political means that that political thing is wrong. It merely means that I disagree with it. So, yeah, as long as they are not infringing on free speech, which to me is the one defining characteristic that America brought into the world, I don't care what they do. I mean, are you in favor of the death penalty or not? Yeah, that's personal. I mean, yes, I know what I am, but that doesn't really seem to mean anything to me. I mean, if I'm in favor of it and it doesn't happen, then yeah, so be it. That's the law of the land. If I'm against it and it does happen, then yeah, still, that's the law of the land. Universal healthcare and education. Hey, if you can make it happen, make it happen. If you can't, then yeah, you can't. It's where you put your emphasis on in society. So I'm not against it. I'm not in favor of it. I just recognize it as it's something that is. And people for themselves have to make up their mind whether they agree with it or not. Of course, there had to be a question about the Netherlands and how the SJW climate in the Netherlands is affecting culture change. And fortunately for the Netherlands, it isn't as big as it is in America, but it's definitely happening. If we see, for example, the mass demonstrations every December when St. Nicholas and Black Pete come into the country, and the bullshit that comes with it. Because social justice warriors, even though they might not call themselves this, have deemed Black Pete a symbol of slavery. Because obviously, Sinterklaas is white, Black Pete is black, therefore he must have been a slave. When in reality, Black Pete was designed by an organization, a writer from an organization, to combat slavery. Black Pete was to be a strong, independent black man that chose to be a helper of Sinterklaas, not a slave, a free man. But that doesn't fit the narrative anymore, so he must have been a slave because he's black. And herein lies the main problem I have with social justice warriors. Reality be damned, it's all about the narrative. Yeah, but he's a slave. How is he a slave? Because he's black. I'm sorry, but are you now the racist? Are you now saying every black person has to be a slave? Because it does seem like that. And this is what SJWs do. And it has gone up so far that it actually influences our politics. So, well, I've made a few videos on the subject, so I would urge you all to go through the list of videos I made and look them up. It is interesting. But yeah, it did affect the climate in the Netherlands. It is a problem, and we haven't seen the end of it yet. But fortunately for us, it isn't as big a problem as it is in most of the other Western countries. How do you think a libertarian way of funding the roads would work? Now, I found this a very interesting question. It's a political one, though, so it's difficult to answer in a way. The thing is, I don't know. I know it's possible. I mean, America around the 20th century had very low taxation, but they did keep the roads. So, I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And if we look in the Netherlands you pay taxation based on the car you drive. So, with that money, they keep the roads. Yeah, but that's quite an expensive taxation. Well, in a way it is, because it's about €100 a month for me, and it's based on how big your car is. Some people pay more. But at the same time, you get what you pay for. Because if we look in the Netherlands, our roads are the best in the world. Now, this is not nationalism speaking, it's basically an observation. If I'm coming home from Germany or Belgium, I can always know when I'm back in the Netherlands. And it's not because I can see it, because let's be honest, bordering countries usually don't really look that much different. But I can hear it in the sound my car makes. Roads are a lot quieter, they're a lot smoother. You get what you pay for. Does this mean that other countries have crap roads? Well, no, because even in Germany or in Belgium, you can still drive on the highway and it's still decently enough, and etc., etc., etc. But yeah, the Dutch are quite a bit better. So then, do I have a problem with taxation based to make the roads better? In all fairness, no, I do not. I mean, you get what you pay for. Is it fun to pay? No, it's not, but you use it, so how come it's, okay to pay for stuff that you use because you want to use it, but not if it's something that you don't use alone but other people use too? Because everyone on that highway, in the Netherlands anyway, paid their tax for the highway. And in a way, that's how it's always been in this country. But because of that, our roads are kept at a very high standard. So the whole concept of taxation is theft, yeah, I'm sorry, that's too simplistic. I disagree with that. Taxation in itself is not a problem. What has been done with that money that taxation has created, that's the issue. So, for example, if we look in the Netherlands and the taxation for the roads, that money has gone to making the roads better. No problem for me. So, could you then say this is a libertarian way of doing it? Yes and no, I guess. But that's politics. I don't really feel, at a good point to tell people how to politically think. To me, it's quite simplistic. Do I mind paying taxes so our roads are better? No, because better roads are a benefit to me. I guess that's where the balance lies. I mean, do I mind paying taxes? Not if I see a return from it. I guess that's the thing I would say. The next two questions I found particularly interesting because they are about me. First off, do I have fetishes? I can't say if I do. And if I do, it might be because they are so normal that no one considers them fetishes. I don't know. So, no, not that I'm aware of. And the second question is, why am I who I am? And for this, I have to go back to my childhood. I used to be a great fan of Spider-Man, the cartoon. The comic books, sorry. And in those you have, of course, the great power, great responsibility, Enigma. And there's another character called the Watcher. And it's not a character, it's a race of people, more or less. He didn't have a lot of roles. He didn't show up often, but he did ever so often. And I thought to myself, okay, so here we have a being with ultimate power, a huge power, and all they do is watch. Okay, fair enough. If he would act, then he would become like a god. This is the Beyonder story. Beyonder was like a god, but being like a god is also not useful. So, by watching, looking, and trying to explain to people what you see, I hope to influence people. After all, we are nothing if not for our society. Our society is nothing if not for us. And basically these comic books, in a way, shaped a lot of my views on how I think the world should work. It's not that I think certain things should happen. I think certain things could happen. And I would prefer certain things to happen. And at the same time, I want to be like Peter Parker, protecting the world against whatever. Or be that last knight on the bridge trying to hold off the hordes of chaos. Obviously, that's nothing to do with comics, but in a way, these are my motivations. It's important to me to speak out. Not because I'm right, but because there's only one way for stupidity to gain traction. If people stop speaking out. And I have the power to speak out. So with that power comes responsibility. I hope you liked these answers. Oh, wait a second. I also had a few questions on mines. So let's go to them really fast. Are traps gay? I wouldn't know. I never met a trap that was or wasn't gay. What's your take on popular history such as stuff by Stephen Ambrose and Will Durant? In all fairness, I haven't read them, so I cannot comment on them. I mean, I could say something, but it would be bullshit because I don't know them. Why is it that China's initial exploration of the globe was comparatively brief and ended by a cultural turning inward, while Europeans' exploration led to the emergence of nation-states and the colonial area? Okay, this I actually do find interesting. I'm not quite sure if I would call China's initial exploration of the globe comparatively brief. They were for quite an extensive period of time, and they've been all over the world mostly. But they went back because they did not have the drive to, I don't know, how do you call it, colonize everything they see, because it wasn't for them. And they did have their problems at home. Never mind the fact that China was a huge country already. The colonial area in Europe is kind of because they never became a large country. They always had a lot of both infighting in Europe itself, but also a lot of threats from outside. For example, for example, from Africa and the Middle East. There were lots of threats coming from those areas. Now, you needed a lot of gold and wealth to be able to build and maintain your armies. So that's why a lot of countries in Europe were driven outward. For example, I'm Dutch. The Netherlands have always been a very small country, but we ruled a large part of the world. How did we do that? Because of the money we made in other countries. It is a way of creating your own safety. I mean, safety in numbers, or safety and size. If we look at China, for example, they had both safety in numbers and safety in size. If we look at the Netherlands, hey, I mean, I've seen cities that are bigger than my country, unfortunately. So, yeah, there is that. Okay, which is more valid, quantum foam or string theory? Not a clue, mate. Not a clue. How do you figure the war in Syria will play out from now? Okay, I'm sorry, my crystal ball is more or less broken. I have no idea. It's going to be a mess though, but then again it's already a mess. If a tree falls in the forest and there is no pink-haired feminist around to notice, does it count as destruction of a phallic symbol of patriarchal oppression? Yeah, only on weekdays ending in a Y. I'm sorry, I don't have a serious answer for that one either. Then again, feminists will most likely claim that it will, because everything has to do with feminism, obviously. Okay, I'm just rambling now. This is taking a lot of words, and I'm not really saying much anymore. So I'm hoping you enjoyed my little Ask Me Anything response video. Like, share, subscribe if you feel so inclined. Criticism and questions are always welcome. So please let me know if you want to know anything, or if you have an idea that might be a suitable concept for a video. I could do that too. And I hope to see you all soon. Unfortunately, as I said at the beginning of my video, I am trying to figure out how to use Blender. So my production speed will go down a little bit. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, said everything I wanted to say. Thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you all soon. Have a nice day.